Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Himani Chapia, Senior Assistant Editor at the Times of India, and today I'm meeting senior academicians to discuss the future of the MBA program in a post-COVID world. How different will admissions for the next batch of MBA aspirants be in top B schools around the world? They've already this year taken students without the GMAT. So can you throw some light on that for students?
Absolutely. Thank you, TOI, Mr. Bindra and Himali, for having me part of this very interesting and very relevant discussion. We already saw last year that hybrid learning is what took us forward. And some of these components of hybrid learning, which are online learning using technology, they're going to stay here. Now, large business schools who can afford technology and who can afford to invest huge sums in online learning, they're going to continue to do well. It's the smaller business schools who may not be able to survive and may not be able to adapt, especially if they find that huge investments in online learning and global marketing are not worth their while. So an immediate impact on admission is going to be that larger business schools are going to receive a greater number of applications, thereby making admissions harder. Now, another factor which Mr. Bindra spoke about in the beginning was that an increase in applications is also when people lose their jobs. When the economy is not growing, people tend to upskill. So instead of finding new jobs, these people choose to go back to education. I think the GMAC study said 67% of business schools worldwide saw an increase in applications for the 2020 term. And the total volume of applications increased by 2.4%. And now what you mentioned, Himali, making admissions test optional, that's removing the GMAT and GRE requirement, it only means that more and more people are now applying for admission. So overall admissions for 2021 and 22 are going to be much harder due to these reasons. And one side little point which I'd like to mention here, and it's an admission trend that we're seeing, that parents are becoming more and more comfortable sending their children to schools and business schools which are closer to home. With so much uncertainty in the air, parents are asking for that comfort factor so the child can just take one flight and come home. And this means that admissions are going to see more local students applying as opposed to international students.
Thank you, Karan. May I ask Dr. Gupta? There are quite a few questions for you. One of them being that, about the online MBA, will it be a lot more acceptable now, in global scenario? And what do students expect from should students expect from an MBA?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mali. I think a very relevant question here. Now, certainly the online MBA is going to gain popularity, but more towards a liquid learning or a hybrid model. Because an MBA experience at the end of the day, it's content, yes, but it's also networking. I don't think that 100% online MBA program would appeal to students or even future employers. The key here is that do the students have what it takes to succeed and adapt to change in the new world, just like we've been talking about. Now, talking about changing work environments also means changing education environments. We all saw that from working at home for an entire year. In the beginning, it looked like we've stumbled upon a new secret. We don't need offices. We can successfully work from home. We're going to save huge amounts of revenue for companies by not having offices. Let's keep the staff force lean. But as the year progressed, we realized that employee motivation was down. Work productivity was reducing for people working from home. We saw Zoom fatigue. We saw work suffer. So now let's translate this to what it means for an MBA in the new world. I believe that MBA programs, including India, are going to focus more on innovation and entrepreneurship because companies who are looking for employees who can work in hybrid modes, who can adapt to changes quickly, who can think out of the box. 5 areas of business management, which is entrepreneurial management, design and research, data analytics, healthcare management, and stress and anxiety management are going to be very, very useful if we put more emphasis on them in the MBA, because in the end, it's going to teach us to handle work and life more holistically. Companies are looking also to hire people on temporary basis, and therefore the gig economy comes into play. We need schools to focus and help students understand what is the gig economy and how the gig economy can rescue you in times of crisis. And as we already spoke about data sciences, I think that's become operative right now, because to manage the current disruption and to move towards a new normal, many companies are using data science tools like predictive analysis, analytics. And in the post-COVID world, data can give businesses a competitive advantage and even minimizing risk. So the tech disruption has created job opportunities, and this is what we have to look for in the new MBA. And one last point on mental health management. Dr. Himanshu mentioned about this as well, because the mental toll that this pandemic has taken on people is increasing. So everyone has to talk about and look after mental health in a professional and education setting. So business schools and the new MBA experience can integrate soft concepts of emotional intelligence, empathy building skills, understanding the philosophical frameworks of life, and design thinking, which is empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. So that's what I would say for the new MBA in the new world.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta, for the excellent discussion that we've had. Um I for everyone who's joined us on Facebook Live, do have a good evening, and we'll log out from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.